In this video, I'm speaking to you about why everyone will feel your energy on semen retention. But beware, the bottom line is everyone will start to feel your energy on semen retention because you're giving off masculine energy. This is the bottom line. The bottom line is you have to be more direct, and you start to become more direct when you go on NoFap because you have more masculinity. The whole NoFap movement is pretty much based on men becoming just more direct, more masculine / more intentional. The bottom line is when you're fat regularly, you lose that masculine edge, that desire to conquer. That is where your semen comes from. That's where the testosterone comes from. So if you're completely depleting yourself, consistently depleting yourself, what's going to happen is you're not going to have that masculine edge that you need to have, and that's going to deter your results. You need this masculine essence in you. It comes with testosterone, nutrients, vitamins, and everything like that. It's going to make you way more masculine. So these are some of the things that you have to realize. Every time you start to fat, you're depleting your masculinity. A lot of the guys who probably aren't doing well when it comes to life in terms of business and relationships is because they keep depleting themselves. You need that core masculinity to go through hard times, because you have to realize life can get hard. But if you're completely depleted, you're completely fapping, you have nothing to fall back on. And at least if you're going through some tough times, at least you have the masculinity to maybe persevere. But if you're completely depleting yourself 24/7, you're completely depleting yourself, you're not going to have that core masculinity, and things are going to be harder for you. These are some of the things that you have to keep in mind when you decide to fap regularly. When you decide to do these things, you're going to become a cuck because you're going to bend over backward because your masculinity is depleted. Some of these things. The thing is, there's masculine and feminine energy. The thing is about men have masculine and feminine energy. Women have masculine and feminine energy too. But the thing is, men just have more masculine energy, and women just have more feminine energy. Now the thing is, men also have feminine energy, based off some of the habits that you may do, eating bad food, not sleeping well, being very stressed out. You're probably going to be a bit more moody, and because you're moody, this is how things are going to happen. So the bottom line is, you're going to attract everything, and because you have more masculine energy. And the bottom line is, when you deplete yourself of this core masculinity, you're really actually doing a very big disservice to yourself. So these are some of the things that you have to realize when you do these things. So when you go on NoFap, when you go on retention, you're going to go through hard times. But because you have this core masculinity inside you, it's going to be easier, to go through the process of coming out of these hard times. Some of these things that you have to realize. So, when you go on NoFap, when you go on retention, it's going to be a smoother sailing. You're still going to have the same problems as the next person, but you're just going to treat them a bit differently. And this is where your power comes from. Your power comes from your indifference. Your power comes from your positive attitude, your willingness to lean into your edges. This is where your power comes from. So, when you go on NoFap, when you go on semen retention, when you go on things like that, your core masculinity is still there. So, like I said, it's treated as like armor through hard times. When you have these trivial times, you have this, when you've been practicing these good foundational habits, regardless of what happens to you, you can be okay. You can be more intentional. You can be more precise, with everything. And this is what's going to happen for you. This is how things are going to work out for you. The bottom line is, when you go on NoFap, when you go on retention, you yourself are going to be a more masculine person. And because of this, you're going to attract the feminine counterpart. You have no reason but to attract the feminine counterpart because you're becoming more masculine as a man. If you ever wanted to get anywhere in business, relationships, anything like that, it comes down to masculinity. It comes down to signals. High status signals. These signals are pretty much broadcasting every single day to see if someone is high status or low status. You can pretty much tell, and it really comes down to is competence, emotional competence. If they're all the way there, if they're in an interaction with someone and they can pick up on the social cues, on the subconscious cues that some person may be giving off. So, these are some of the things that you have to realize. So, the bottom line is, when you go on NoFap, when you go on retention, you're giving off masculine energy. And because you're giving off masculine energy, things are going to go well for you. People who think that this is all facade and it's not real, they really have to realize that. They have to realize how, if your seminal fluid was powerful enough to create a human life force, then what happens if you have an abundance of it inside you? Well, how's that going to make you act? You're going to act a little bit different. You're probably going to be a bit more confident. You're probably going to walk with a little bit more urgency, a bit more intentionality, and these are some very good things that are going to happen for you. So people who think this is all BS, it's not really going to do anything to you. They don't realize the subtle little differences that's going to happen. So there's going to be very subtle differences. These things are not going to be shown to you just like that. It's going to be very subtle. It's going to be very subtle, and especially when it comes to interaction with women. You're not afraid to go there when you have an abundance of this. But when you've been fapping regular, you shy away from the woman because you just don't have that confidence. The success comes from your daily actions. If you're taking the right actions, then of course you have to be confident. Of course you have to be confident. So these are some of the things that you got to realize. So never mind what people who say that this is not that big of a deal say, because they don't realize the subtleness and the differences of what's actually happening, when you decide to go on these practices. They don't understand the subtleness, the very subtle things that just never spoken about, but you can see the small differences, and the small differences is what makes or breaks your destiny. Now, if you're a guy and you want to increase your masculinity, you want to go back to your core habits, so you can be a bulletproof of anything that happens to you. You need to have a good physique, because having a good physique is definitely going to carry you through maybe hard times. And if you get rejected, hey, at least you have your physique to fall back on. Another thing is you want to quit bad habits. You want to completely stop some of these behaviors for good. It's going to make you a happier person. In the long run, you're going to be more susceptible to attracting real relationships. Because the thing is, if you're not attracting real relationships, you're always going to have this imaginary relationship, and it's not a good life to live. So this is what I did for you. I put down a free video training series, a free presentation, free 3-part video training series, how you can quit fapping for good and build your dream physique, completely free of charge. Click on that link in the description down below, and we will see you in the next one.